Hey guys, Comics Kid 2099 here. I've got a graphic novel that I finished reading yesterday, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. This is going to be a pretty short review because, frankly, I don't have a whole lot to say. The book is Superman, Up, Up, and Away. This is written by Kurt Busiek and Geoff Johns, and drawn by Pete Woods and Renato Guides. I don't know how to say that guy's name, so there it is right there. I'll let you guys figure out how to pronounce it yourselves. This book is pretty good, but like I said, I don't have a whole lot to say. This was shortly after Infinite Crisis. There was Infinite Crisis was one of DC's big, huge summer events, and then DC did something that I really enjoyed, or at least in principle I really enjoyed it. In execution, I liked it on a case-by-case basis. It was jumping forward 1 year. All of their books jumped forward 1 year except for Legion of Superheroes. I'm pretty sure that was like the only one that did not. And then after that, basically everyone was on the same page. You didn't have people who knew everything that was going on and then people who were really confused because they were new readers. At this point, everyone was essentially a new reader. And this is one of those 1 year later books. I don't know if this is one of the first 1 year later books but for Superman, but it's one of the earliest ones. And basically, it's pretty good. That's really all I have to say. Lex Luthor is the bad guy. That might be my only complaint, is that if Lex Luthor didn't show up for the next 30 years in the comics, I think that it would still be too soon when he showed back up, because frankly, I'm kind of getting sick and tired of Lex. Maybe it's that every writer writes him entirely differently, where some people write him as kind of a misunderstood villain who, if Superman wasn't there, he'd be a good guy, and that's actually kind of dealt with here. And then some people write him as just being psychopathically insane. I just made up a word, psychopathically. The thing is, he's written differently all the time, and because he shows up so often, there was a period of time where he was a supporting character in the books. He was a bad guy, but he was like as much of a supporting character as Jimmy Olsen and Perry White. And because he shows up so often, frankly, I kind of get sick and tired of seeing him. It would be like if the Joker literally appeared in every single Batman comic for the span of like 15 years. Like, nobody would want to see that. When the Joker shows up, I might be interested, but I don't want to see him all the time. And that's kind of my problem with Lex Luthor, is that he's overused, and frankly, I just don't need to see him all the time. And he is the big bad guy of this story, and that might be my biggest complaint, is that he's kind of just crazy here. And Lex Luthor is a lot of things. I don't really think that he's crazy, and I'm not really sure who to blame for that, because I know Kurt Busiek doesn't really care for the post-Crisis on Infinite Earths Lex Luthor. He prefers the pre-Crisis Lex Luthor, which we could argue about whether or not which character is valid. We could do that all day. I don't really know enough about pre-Crisis Superman to know for a fact that one Luthor is better over the other. I don't really know. But I do know that Busiek has said before somewhere that he's not as big of a fan of the post-Crisis on Infinite Earths Luthor. So it might be Geoff Johns who's really pushing to use the character here. I don't know. And that brings me to another thing. Usually when you have two writers working on the same story and they're co-writing, you can kind of tell, okay, this is where Busiek ends, this is where Johns begins. Not here. I cannot tell where Busiek is writing and where Geoff Johns is writing. Now, this actually collects, I think, 3 issues of Action Comics and 3 issues of Superman. Maybe I should just go ahead and tell you which issues that is. It collects, let's see here, Superman is 650 through 653, and Action Comics 837 through 840. So that's actually, 37, 38, 39, 40. 4 issues of Superman and 4 issues of Action Comics. I was mistaken. So I'm guessing if I look those up, that Geoff Johns would be writing like Action Comics and Busiek would be writing Adjective with Superman. But I didn't look those up. Just reading this, though, I could not tell, okay, this issue is very clearly written by Kurt Busiek and this issue is very clearly written by Geoff Johns, which is very good news for Geoff Johns, because I've gone on record to say before, I'm not the world's biggest fan of Geoff Johns. He wrote one of the 1 year later stories, was a story that reintroduced General Zod into the mix, and I really, really hated that story. But then he also wrote Superman and the Legion of Superheroes, which I really love that story, and I did a review of that, so you can search in my videos and find that. This was much closer to Superman and the Legion of Superheroes than that General Zod story. Not as good as the Legion of Superheroes story, maybe just because I'm a huge Legion fan, but this is closer to that than the story that I really hated. Last Sun, I think, is what it was called. That's about all I had to say. This does some interesting things with Superman. I think mostly the fact that this is a little bit of a spoiler, but when the story opens, Clark Kent is not Superman. And I think that's maybe the most interesting thing that we have here. And I would definitely recommend that you pick this up. It's a very underrated story, I think, because usually when people say these are the Superman stories that you should read, they don't mention this one. This one gets glossed over. And maybe that's because this is a fairly new story, but there's a lot of newer stories that do get talked about a lot, and I would say unfairly so, because I think this is better than Superman Earth 1, which was a story that I really hated, and maybe someday I need to reread that and do a review on it. But this is a story I definitely think you should read. I think it's a little sad that people don't talk about it as much as they do. It's not like the world's greatest Superman story, but it is a very good story. And really, my only complaint is that they used Lex Luthor, a character who I don't have to see as much as everyone else wants to see. That's all I have to say. So, like I said, a shortish video. I hope that you guys liked this video. If you did, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I hope that I was able to convince you to go pick up this book. And I will see you guys later in the week with at least one more video, maybe another one. I don't really know. That's up in the air for now. So until next time, I'll see you guys later. Have a great rest of the day.